This is fascinating in terms of which of these two quarterbacks do you trust the most headed into the postseason? And it's fascinating because Baltimore is only going to ask Lamar Jackson to do what he can do. Throw it occasionally, but lead that running game. I don't think it'll be enough, though, in the postseason, and that's why I would choose Dak Prescott, even though I believe he's very limited in the passing game, and even though I think Dallas sometimes asks him to do more than he can do. Yeah. They're going to put him in harm's way. But eventually you're going to have to make some throws in this league, and I just think right now Dak's more equipped to do it than Lamar.
I don't think so. Was in those elements, went to the Chargers game, fully confident because my co-host told me, oh, the Ravens going to get stomped out the yard by the Chargers. And I was sitting there with that kind of arrogance and, from play one, even my boy tapped me. He's like, hey, Ravens look better than the Chargers. I was like, I know. Then I was like, all right, they're going to wake up and realize they're playing a real team. Lamar Jackson has grown in confidence with his arm. I didn't see one errant throw. I saw good incompletions. I saw balls hitting guys in the chest so fast that they dropped it, or the defenders would make a tremendous play. But in terms of incompletions and bad throws, he's grown in confidence. 22 pass attempts. That's more for him. 200-plus yards. That's more for him. And he has a live arm. There's going to be a problem in these playoffs. With that defense, the way that they control the running game and time of possession, and a quarterback who's starting to believe that I can throw the ball, he can fling it with the best of them. I mean, he can fling it. Now, is it going to be accurate all the time, playoff football? We're going to stop your running attack, plan B football? Yet to be seen. But in terms of him just being one-dimensional, that was yesterday's news. This dude went out there and beat the Chargers, and he beat them because he was a capable quarterback, even in the pocket.
The defense was incredible.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to say. He beat him because that defense was incredible. Yeah. I mean, look, which one would I take? Dak Prescott for sure. I mean, Dak has never had he's only been there, 3 years, never had a losing season since he's been there. And I agree with you. Sometimes they ask Dak to do too much at that position, but I think he does enough. He knows that position better. I think he's more of a seasoned quarterback. And both of these guys are still really young. I mean, he's in his first year. Lamar Jackson is in his first year. And Ozzie Newsome said, I told you this before, he liked him because I asked him at the Hall of Fame, I said, tell me about Lamar Jackson. Do you think he can play in the NFL, or are you going to think he's going to be like a shotgun quarterback? He said, no, Eric, he can play in the National Football. He said, it's going to take some time. And I don't think he thought it would happen this year. But it's here right now. But still, if I had to take a guy, I would have to take Dak Prescott.
Yeah, well, I think the most dangerous one is Lamar Jackson. I mean, just watching him, he's electric. He can take off. He can take it 90 yards. I mean, if he's down in his own part of the field. But who I trust more, it's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, he doesn't turn the ball over. But neither does Lamar. But I think with that running game with Ezekiel Elliott, I think that it kind of saves Dak where he doesn't have to do too much at times. I mean, the game that they won yesterday, they clearly won it because of the defensive side of the ball. Defense scored a touchdown, got a turnover inside their
Baltimore.
I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys with Dak. That is why Dak is able to have so much success. Otherwise, I think they would have lost. They're both winning by their defenses, and they're limited at that position. But going into the playoffs, definitely Dak Prescott. Lamar, he's still got a little bit ways to go. He has the higher upside as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't it concerning that they ask more of Dak, but there's still an issue with Dak satisfying that ass? Like, there are times where Dak could have sealed the game away, New Orleans game or something like that, and you're like, make that throw. Oh, I don't make that throw. You see Dak around and make a costly turnover. He still has a lot of turnovers, fumbles more so than interceptions. Versus Lamar, you're like, I don't even flip that page to say he's ready for this. I stay on this page, and there's something about that concise messaging from coach, coordinator to Lamar. You're going to do what you do, and that's it. And I just trusted. I saw it. Look, I know the defense played amazing against Phillip Rivers. He didn't look like the same Phillip Rivers. The offense was not good. But Lamar was also making plays to give that defense life to continue that ass. That game was close. It wasn't a dominant performance in terms of the score. It was 16-10. Chargers had the ball driving, and then the Gates fumble. They score on that, it's 17-16, more than likely they win. But I'm looking at Lamar like he was out there giving guys confidence because he was capable enough as a quarterback, not just as a running quarterback.
Listen, I do think Lamar has exceeded my expectations and has improved.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watched that game, there was at no point after the first quarter did I really believe the Chargers could win that game. Baltimore's defense was just way too amazing.
Yeah.
That was like Ray Lewis 2000 perfect storm defense from Baltimore. I think it'll be interesting whether Baltimore can sustain that level of defense, because when I watch it, it's a group effort. They're playing on a lot of emotion and energy. I don't see the individual stars in that defense like I saw with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis in their prime. And so some of it I think is like, it's great that they're doing it, but it's like, can that be sustained? I almost think Baltimore is going to have problems this weekend with Cleveland.
You know what's weird? Being on defense, when you look at your offensive unit and you see their issues, their handicaps, it makes you play better because you're like, we have to do this. Where if you're in Dallas, you see Ezekiel Elliott, you see Dak, could be, Ezekiel's
Amari
amazing.
Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper. You can kind of start sometimes say, hey, they can help us out too. And if that creeps into your mind, that's where the points go. They gave up 20 this week, but they still won. But the defense also scored as well. I just think that defense realizes there's only one way we can win. It's on our side of the ball. Where Dallas, some of that is being borrowed by the offensive side and those stars.
What about when you get to the playoffs and if you're playing against them, you're going to do everything in your power to stop his running.
Yeah.
And make him beat you with that arm. He had one game over 200 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what scares me about him going to the playoffs, because once you get to that, you know how it is. Everybody steps their game up, and they're coming to hit you now. You defensive players, they're gonna, and he's been knocked out of 2 games. Yeah. Will he even last through a playoff game if he's trying to play how he has played up to this point?
I do think there is some little magical energy around Lamar. Same, we're about to talk about Nick Foles here. There's some little magic energy around Nick Foles. Right. There was something, again, Lamar reminds me of Tebow. He had that little it factor that inspired guys around him.